Welcome to Art Talk Tuesday. Welcome to Art Talk Tuesday. I know it's been a little while since I've made a video and talked about anything, but I've had a lot going on. I moved into a new live-work loft studio space, and I've been spending all my time and energy getting this place ready to go so that I could put my work up and display it, and also be able to have a good, large working space so I can begin to start working on some larger pieces. However, there was a piece that I had started about 4 months ago that I never got a chance to finish, and I have finally completed that piece and wanted to talk to you about it today. So, the piece that we have here is entitled Ascension 4, Opening the Gates. And this is part of the Ascension series. The Ascension series is kind of a random series of mine. It's only got 4 pieces, but it's kind of related to other pieces and other themes within my work. So you can see in this piece too, it's also related to my chakra series. So, and it's the same size, so all of these kind of go together, but this is really about the whole notion of ascension, so I really dubbed it with that Ascension series, which is also predominantly all acrylic images. So we have an 18 by 24 canvas here, painted in acrylic, and it's about the 5 gates. If you know anything about the chakras and you know anything about the auric field, there's a series of 5 gates that are supposed to be above the head that are above the crown chakra. So if you have the 7 main chakras, and as I've talked about before, you have over 100 chakras in your body, but you only have 7 main ones. And the crown chakra, which is purple, which you see indicated right here, is floating about an inch above the head. But there are 5 other gates that are above that lead up to the supreme monad, which we have here, which we'll talk about in a second. So we see what we have here is the figure in a prayer and meditation position, the head bowed. You see the crown chakra exposed, because when we are in moments of prayer and meditation, we go deep within, the crown chakra does open so that we can receive, for lack of a better term, I don't like using a lot of computer terminology, but in this case we will. We can receive a lot of downloads from spirit. So that begins to open up. But chakras, people talk about chakras being open and closed. It's really not about them ever opening and closing. If one of your chakras was really completely closed, you probably wouldn't be alive. So it's more degrees of opening and closing. They're more like valves. I think of the chakras, the 7 chakras more like valves. But then when we talk about these up above, we're talking about gates. And gates are very different because a gate does actually open and close. So your chakras can be valves that kind of, sometimes the valves are a little more open, sometimes the valves are more closed, but the valves very rarely completely closed. One way, so your chakras can be more blocked or not, but the gates, a gate actually does keep something in and out. It does close and open. So we have a very different concept here because it is controlling and keeping the auric field intact. So it only lets certain things come through. When you open a gate, usually the gate only opens one way, particularly in ancient times. Usually the gate to the city would open inwards so they could control who was coming in and coming out. And then the armies, if there was a war, the army could bust up against it and keep the gate closed or push the gate closed. So we have this idea of the gates. So you're locking things in place. And what are you locking in? You're locking in part of the auric field. So we'll just start here at the bottom and we'll work our way up. We have the figure here, as I said, in prayer and meditation. And you see he's surrounded by the white aura here. And most people say, if you talk to any psychics, they will tell you that when they look at the aura at first, when you're beginning to really begin to look at it and begin to see it, you see just white around the person. And then as you begin to develop that vision, that capacity, your third eye opens more, you begin to see the actual colors. I've actually tried this, and you can try it on a dark or sometimes white piece of paper. You can place your hand and just begin to let your eyes go flat, and you can begin to start seeing the outline. And usually it is white. I haven't taken it further than that, but maybe you can. A lot of people do. So what we have here is the figure of meditation and prayer, the 7th chakra, the crown chakra, opening up, and then we move to what is called the 9th chakra, or the solar star chakra, also refers to as the halo chakra. So it is from this chakra when we talk about the notion, ideas of someone having a halo around their head or above their head, where you see it in ancient biblical Renaissance pictures. You see sometimes they'll show the angel with the halo, or they'll show Mary or Jesus with the halo around the head. that is supposed to come from this chakra right here, the halo chakra, the solar star. Okay, and the color associated with that, and where I'm getting this information is, I've done a lot of research on various psychics, and they're kind of coming to a consensus around what they see. The symbols that I've used here are just generic symbols. Some of them resemble other power symbols from Celtic mythology, witchcraft, other things, Druidism, but I just use these symbols prayerfully, meditated on which ones I thought would be the best for that particular chakra, using spirit to guide me. They're not actually symbols associated with the chakra. Most people just talk about the colors that they see and not any particular thing. So I want you to be clear that these are all made up. They may resemble some other symbols that you know, particularly this one right here. So don't be alarmed. I'm not saying that means that's the symbol for this particular gate. I'm just saying that's what I'm using, something similar. So we have the solar star associated with the halo, and the color for this is a deep fern green, which I've indicated here. Okay? Around the figure here, you see I have purple, and then I have purple up here. Purple is a symbol, particularly deep purple. It's also associated with the crown chakra. It's a symbol for deep spirituality, deep spiritual opening, the presence of spirit. So I've indicated that here around the figure, and also when we get to the central, to the higher monad, the deep spirit here. So we'll make that connection later. But got the deep fern green. Then we move to what is called the 10th chakra. I'm sorry, the 9th chakra. So we've got the 8th fern green, we've got the 9th chakra, which is called the spirit star, okay? And it's our communion with angels, other beings of light. So if we really were to think about the chakra, the color associated with it is actually turquoise. I've made it darker here, but this is actually a turquoise color that they're associating with this chakra. It's for communing with higher beings of light, angels, etc. So theoretically, we don't know, but theoretically, this chakra or this gate would be the one that opened up when Muhammad spoke to the angels and received the information for the Quran. When it talks about in the Bible about Jesus being ministered to by angels, okay? This gate would have opened up to enable him to do that, to enable that to happen. So just looking at that idea, the 10th chakra here is referred to as the universal chakra. And what it does is it merges our divine masculine and divine feminine energies along with the universal energies of our body. So that holds everything together because we both have the masculine and feminine within us to varying degrees. And this chakra, universal chakra gate, controls all that and binds that all together, keeps it in the body. And the color associated with that is this pearl white that you see right here, which I've also used throughout the whole composition. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute after we finish talking about the gates. The next gate we want to talk about, the 11th gate, is called the galactic gate or the galactic chakra, and it allows for time travel, teleportation, all those type of things that we talk about when people do what we call supra or supernatural works would be associated with this gate. Time travel, teleportation, bilocation. If you remember one of the Star Wars where they have Luke Skywalker, he's on a planet and he's sitting at the top of his mountain meditating, and he's also in another place fighting with the son of Darth Vader. That would be considered bilocation, being in two places at one time. Teleportation, you hear about that particularly in the Hinduism tradition where yogis can levitate. They can teleport themselves to other places. So this would be associated with the opening of this gate. Then our final gate, the 12th gate, is referred to as the divine or stellar gateway, and it allows for complete oneness with the divine. The colors associated with this are, they're not quite always together, but the colors associated with this are, we have silver, a shimmering silver, bright shimmering silver color. Also in this one here, I use gold. Some people also say they see like a pinkish orange with gold in it. Rather than try to duplicate that, it was just, I tried it a few times. I went with the pink orange, it didn't work with the palette. I went with the shimmering colors here, it didn't really work. So I went with the silver and the gold, which they all say are predominant for these two chakras. So this is the unifying chakra here with the gold, the gate, that talks about unifying and holding together all these divine energies that comprise the entire auric field. Up above here, I have finally placed what this is my own symbol, one of my favorites, what I can call the monad, or the supreme monad. And monad means one, coming together. So here we have above these 5 gates and the chakra, we have the symbol, my own symbol, for the supreme being, the supreme one, the supreme energy, the supreme everything. And you see that pearl white energy I've indicated here is coming down from the supreme monad and touching, moving through all of these gates down into the chakra and finally surrounding the figure itself, because we are one with the divine. And so keeping that idea, that notion of oneness, that this is not separate, everything is interconnected through this this whole divine light from the divine monad. So that's what I wanted to depict here. And at first I was thinking this through, and I painted, of course, the image, the figure, and I didn't have the white border around it, and it looked very disjointed. It was like everything wasn't connected. It looked very disjointed. I wasn't satisfied with it. I said, what is wrong? What is missing? And as I began to continue to meditate on it, I began to see there's nothing unifying the palette here. Nothing's unifying and bringing everything together. So what I did was began to use the pearl white and bring it down so that everything is touching, everything is solidified and brought together through the use of this light. And it also brings this upward, downward motion, which we have here. As you see, also with the canvas being directly divided down the center, with the energies flowing out this way. So you get this downward, outward flowing motion. Is what I'm trying to achieve here with this piece. So that tells you about the Ascension 4, opening of the gates. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please share it, like it, send it to somebody, and let them know what kind of things we're talking about here. See you next time. Peace.